Welcome to the latest edition of NeuGroup Insights Interview. I'm Joseph Neu, founder and CEO of NeuGroup. Our guest today is Tom Wipf, Vice Chairman of Morgan Stanley and Chairman of the Alternative Reference Rates Committee, or ARRC. ARRC has been convened by the Fed to ensure the successful transition from Libor to the Secured Overnight Financing Rate, or SOFR. Tom, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Joseph. Happy to be here.
Now, if I have this right, you joined the ARRC in 2014 when it was formed and became chair in 2019. When you came into this role and took the job, what were you expecting and how has that held up to your actual experience? Any surprises?
Joseph, I think this whole journey, if we go back to the inception of the ARRC and all the people who participated over these nearly 7 years of work, I think I had kind of a pretty good perspective on it. But I think, again, when I was invited to be chair of this, I think what I really learned is, again, just seeing more and more about the different perspectives that we have, the fact that the group has been, has increased in diversity in terms of buy side, sell side, the ex officio members we have from the U.S. regulatory community, central clearing counterparties, and really the non-financial corporates. So much work has been done around this, regional banks. And by putting that group together, it was really great to see all the different perspectives. And I think, like all of us, who have been going closely involved in this transition, I think we've learned that there's a lot of detours and a lot of dead ends. And I think what seemed like a fairly straightforward path way back in 2014, although we knew it would be a big lift, but taking out Libor and replacing it with SOFR seemed to be a fairly straightforward approach. Nonetheless, I think, and as we've learned, Joseph, with many of the, I think, very informative events that you've hosted, is that there's a lot more to this puzzle than we, I think, initially thought. So across the cash products, loan markets, all the things that we saw, little pieces of the market when you think about the total of $225 trillion in contracts and that reference US dollar Libor, there are markets that are less than $1 trillion that have important complexities and need to be addressed really differently. So I think what I've learned is, as we've gotten closer to the end of this journey, is that many of the things that seemed really small way back in 2014 actually required the most thoughtful and diligent work to actually take them through the transition.
Yeah, you mentioned the journey, and I think you've mentioned this previously, that it's more of a marathon than a sprint. So maybe in assessing where we are now, have we hit the proverbial marathon wall at the 20-mile mark? And has term SOFR and the recent recommendation with that put us past the wall?
I think we have passed the wall, Joseph. I think we've really hit a point now where it may have felt that we were definitely beginning to, sort of get to that really challenging point in this transition. And I think we had a few really good things break our way. I think obviously the first was the New York State legislation for tough legacy, which happened, back in the spring, which I think gave us a really good ability to feel like a lot of that market would be de-risked by that legislation, the legacy problems that we have, the toughest legacy problems. And then obviously the timing of this meeting is great because last week we had the two big events, the introduction of the SOFR First initiative, which is simply stated that the derivative screens in the interdealer market switched from Libor to SOFR. That gave us, plenty of new, new volume using SOFR, which was one of the key milestones we needed to meet to be able to endorse term SOFR. So I think between, what we saw on the legislative side, and obviously we have federal legislation now moving through a pretty good path, the New York State legislation being enacted into law, SOFR First, and now term SOFR, which is so important, I think, for so many market participants in the cash markets. I think we may have, we certainly feel like we've turned a big corner here, and we hope we're on the downhill.
It strikes me that this Libor transition and some of the lessons have told us some things about how well financial market participants embrace change. And it feels like that there's been a significant amount of discussion around term structure. Before that, the credit spread, and it feels like there are certain market participants that are not quick to embrace change in how things are done. Any thoughts around that?
Yeah, it's been such an interesting sort of perspective and a window into how markets work across so many market participants. And I think what we've learned is, look, there's in anything there's always an inertia to the status quo. And I think if we go back to the history of Libor, this was created in 1969 for one oil loan, and its use became so explosive in the derivatives market, and there was so much use of this. And at the same time, the interdealer lending markets were going down. So what we had is use going up, actual transactions going down. So you've got this sort of inverse pyramid that we had. So we were really trying to address that problem. But as we went through this, we did learn is that Libor is everywhere. And I think, as we began to sort of peel away the layers and dig down, you begin to see that at what appears as though there's, just a general, this is how we've done it and it's embedded in the system. It really became much more apparent to us that removing Libor from so many different products, whether that be just products that people have externally or just the internals, funds transfer pricing, all how deeply it had been embedded and cemented into the system, that the work, just really began to be much more complex than it would seem. It seemed really easy. We let things mature, we let Libor mature, we put SOFR in, and off we go. But the variety of products, the variety of market participants, borrowers, lenders, issuers, investors, it really became quite complex. So although there is definitely in the construction of this, we do see that there certainly has been a lot of inertia towards the status quo. A lot of it is just the size and scope and how deeply Libor had been woven into the financial infrastructure.